Before you go out to do a candlelight gig, do you have a mental routine, kind of like a mental prep routine that you do, or do you just kind of just go out and do it? Or is there like a visualization that you do, or um, a hype thing that you do for yourself?
Yes, actually I do. There's like 14 different programs that I play, so a lot of the energy is different. So like for the Queen program, usually what I do is I put the playlist on Spotify and I get their sound in my head because my job at the piano is to recreate, it's to bring tribute to the band, and I take that pretty seriously because I'm like, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody and I sobbed my eyes out because these people, they sacrifice their entire lives to give to audiences, thousands and thousands of people. They've touched generations of people, like, and playing their music is a way to say this is how important and what they've given to us as artists. So it's important that I try to capture their sound at the piano. Well, that's not really possible. I don't have an electric guitar, but like at least I've got in my head what it should be, and then I can kind of recreate that. Also, I've got people in the audience crying their eyes out because they've loved Queen their entire lives and they're wearing the t-shirts, and like, you know, in that sense, it's like let's get it in the head. So, I have some Freddie Mercury power moves that I do. I watched his live show when they did, what is it, right? World Aid. What was that? The live show that they
Yeah,
did?
Live Aid. Yeah.
Right, Live Aid. I rewatched that. I imagine their energy, their stage presence. I've worked so much on my stage presence. Oh my gosh, I've like read books and watched Taylor Swift, and I've like put it in my brain like how to walk on stage and capture an audience, because like we're here to give energy. So you got to be on. And so that means like 5 minutes before, everybody out of my room. Like, don't talk to me. I'm not on my phone. Um, I got to get in the mode, the stage performance. It's kind of like a lever. You just like flip the lever. You're like, all right, I'm on now. And sometimes you got to flip it fast because I've been late a few times. I arrived at a venue once. I had 6 minutes to like change hair, makeup, walk out, and you're like, all right, everybody, here we go. But I think it's like an internal shift, and you're like, it's time to shift up a gear here.
So those 5 minutes when everybody's out of the room, what's happening before you walk on stage?
Thinking about what I want to do. My,
Hmm.
my trying to make some really specific goals. Think about any songs. Think about the set list order, the flow, the energy, the culture that I'm in. If I'm in France or if I'm in Amsterdam, it's a very different crowd. I listen for the person introducing me. Is she like warming up the crowd, or is she just staying really quiet? Like, I think I shared this with you in a private conversation, but like I do 2 shows back to back. So by the end of the first show, everyone's open and laughing, and it's been a great emotional experience. And then the second show starts, and everybody's back to square one, where it's like a very serious classical audience. And I'm like, hello, everyone, and welcome. You're allowed to like, relax here and enjoy. And so I think that's what I'm thinking about. Thinking about the last time I played the show, if there's anything I want to fix, any immediate stuff that I can go smoother. I'm always trying to think about how to get better, 1% better.
Hmm. And like you said
Yeah,
before, depending on the repertoire, you're like in a different headspace. So you're almost
yeah,
like playing almost like a different character for each program, whatever it might be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, the Goldman show, he's like a French singer songwriter, so I know like depending on the city, people might be singing. I'm preparing myself for that. I have to say, like this week was the Paris premiere, and I was a little bit in my head about that one. I was like, okay, I've got 800 people here. It's sold out. It's Adele. They are like Adele fans, It's like I really want the audience to like me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like okay, yeah, you want to be a people pleaser, but you don't want to be a people pleaser at the same time. So I'm always wrestling with that tension. Um, I think a lot about like sending energy, like to the very back third balcony. Can they see and feel me? I want to grab them and give what they have. And I learned that from Joyce DiDonato. She's like, those people up there, they paid $150 to be here tonight. So you better just make sure you connect with them and reach them. Right. And I'm like, all right, like send everything I have and give. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of the mindset I'm walking out. And I've watched, when you say feedback, I mean, because they can film, I've seen myself on stage so many times with like the insecure rounded shoulders, not knowing when to smile or bow and stuff. So I've worked so much. That's coming back to the stage presence. Like, how do you walk out with confidence and be like, hey, I'm here for everybody to relax and have a good time? And that's our job as artists, right? Like, people have stressful jobs. They don't want to come and see an artist who's also stressed out because she's worried about missing her cadenza in the Chopin Nocturne, right? They want to come in and have a good time and see a professional on stage who's creating this experience for them to enjoy. So also just keeping that in my head, like I'm here to do something important.
And watching film of yourself, is that a routine? Is that still part of your routine, or is that something that you did earlier and you kind of figured it out and now you don't do it as much?
No, I still do it now because sometimes I can't believe what I'm seeing. I'm like, who's that? Because I had this dress this week that was made for me by this French designer. It had this kind of like airbag thing, and I'm just like, how did I play with that? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just watching. I can't believe what I see. It's because also when you're on stage, you don't realize how far some people can be away from you. We've got 3 balconies of people. So somebody had taken a video from the third balcony, and I'm like this little spot on the stage. I'm like, wait, how did I do that? And that's why I think it really is this shift of energy because you put yourself in this modus and you're like, I'm on now and I'm not thinking about so many things. So just zero in on what the job is at hand. And in that sense, I think I can play for 40 people or 400 people in the same way. It would be like the same show because I'm not looking at the audience and counting heads. I'm just giving what I have to give.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard performers like Joshua Bell, for example. His argument is, or his the way he looks at it is like, I'm playing music, I'm in my own world, and I draw people into me. But the way you look at it is a little
Okay.
bit different, right? It's more like you're like sending it out almost. It's
Yeah.
sending out the
I
energy.
mean, that's
Hmm.
cool how he describes it. And I can totally understand how you want to like, yeah, invite people into that shared experience with you. But
Hmm.
I think I'm probably approaching it differently.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And what are you actually thinking about while you're playing? Are you thinking expression, emotion? Are you just thinking, what's going through your head?
Depending how strong my critic is that day, telling myself, focus, lock in, listening. I'm listening a lot. Like, am I getting the sound that I want to get? Um, Hopefully the technical passages are all sitting well and then there's nothing super hard. When I start Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm a little bit freaked out about that because there's a couple hard spots in there and it's like always, oh, here we go. But mostly I'm just trying to listen to the sound I want to create and tell my inner critic to stop yapping at me. I'm still working on that self one, self two thing from the inner game of tennis.
So sometimes you catch yourself thinking about technique and you have to get out of that mindset in a sense. It's like,
Not even technique, but just like, yeah, the technical aspect of the performance. I mean, not like
mm,
not like loosen your wrists or whatever, but just like, okay, is this good? Do they like me? Oh no, how's it going? Oh, I feel hot. I didn't eat enough. Oh, I'm low, a little bit low energy. Oh, do I just said that in French. I think I messed up all my words. And I was like, stop. Just focus on these notes, please. Like, it's like you're stabbing yourself as you're trying to run a race. It's this critic of ours. It sucks so much. You're like seriously self sabotaging in front of 500 people. And then they come off and they're like, so how was it for you? And you're like, I don't even know how to explain what's going on in my head. But I think I've gotten better at just like relaxing. And again, it's like that perspective shift. Like, okay, people aren't here to judge me. They're here to enjoy. And so actually my job, I got to stop being so selfish. It's not about me at all.
yeah, it's about the music. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I catch myself thinking that way too. When you make it about you, that's when the mistakes happen. It's
Yep.
interesting, but
Or if I start overthinking, that's when I'll screw up because I'll take away the automatic gesture that I've programmed in, because I'm like starting to overthink something. It's like, stop, just relax and get in the flow. You know what you're doing. Just relax. So
hmm.
sometimes depends on the night, but it's getting better and better because I've had so much experience. And that's why I'm so grateful for Candlelight because I'm on stage constantly. So I can always learn to improve these things. And I think I'm pretty much bulletproof on stage now. I'm definitely better than I used to be.
Hmm. So and how frequent are these concerts? I mean, is it every week or pretty
Yeah,
much?
I'm doing 8 to 10 a month or something.
Mhm.
So
Wow,
yeah. For
incredible.
example, speaking of being bulletproof, the reason I bring that up is because like yesterday I played this big festival here and it was a classical program. I did Corn Gold and Jodot from Ravel and some Liszt and stuff. And there was on the huge square, the market square outside, there was a line dancing group. And this woman had a microphone that she was screaming into and there was a subwoofer like doo, 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 and it was coming through the wall into the hall where I was playing. And I was like trying to play French music with this massive subwoofer accompaniment. And I was like, I stopped between the movements of the corn gold and I looked at the audience like, what do you guys want me to do? Because this is crazy. And like, it was seriously affecting my hearing and stuff. And they were like, just keep going. And then the organizer, he thanked me profusely. And he's like, I'm so sorry. We tried to stop them, but couldn't. And then I realized like, he's like, it was amazing how you kept going. And I'm like, yeah, but I think I'm like bulletproof from all this candlelight stuff. Cause I've had to play through some crazy stuff. Like you just got to keep going. You just got to do the show. And yeah, I think a lot of artists would also benefit from having this kind of situation. You got to be so adaptable and flexible
Hmm. Yeah, and
because life isn't perfect. We don't have these perfect conditions, and in sometimes you just got to be ready to go.
was that the concert you shared that on your Instagram page? where you weren't expecting to go on, but you had to go on right away, or was that a different concert?
No,
That was the
that
one.
was yesterday morning on
Yeah.
the live radio. Yeah, two things in one day. Yesterday was a whole whirlwind. So I show up for the radio and I don't know, I had the wrong information. They told me you're going to do an interview in Dutch. So I was already freaked out about that. So you play the first piece, do the interview, and then play the second piece. And you play at 10 after 10. You get to sound check at 9:30 for 3 minutes while we play a CD in front of a live audience, by the way. So I arrive, the whole audience sees me. They're sitting there eating their breakfast. They're playing a CD. They're like, okay, try the piano 3 minutes. It's an upright. There was like film or something on the keys. So I'm like, can I get a rag? So I'm like wiping off the keys. This is so bad, right? In front of the audience. Then I try it for 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm good to go. And then I was like, oh, I have half an hour. I'm going to grab a coffee and chill. He's like, oh, actually, I'm so sorry, but you go on right now. And I'm like, no, you said in 30 minutes. What are you talking about? He's like, no, it's now. I was like, okay. I didn't even change my shoes. Had a camera in my face, like right here, and the radio and the audience, and I got to play like right now. And I said it on my stories, but I had a teacher in university. She said, you got to be ready to play at midnight on an iceberg. Like any moment, you got to be ready. And I think yesterday was one of those moments. Just like, dear God, like I hope that anyone listening to this has mercy, like I haven't even listened back. I can't listen back yet. I hope it's okay.
So how do you do that? How do you just flip the switch and get into that mindset right away? I mean, you're just so used to it by now, or how does that
I
how
certainly tried. I mean, I think I did. I did get into flow because I just went on like automatic. And I think I can just like block out. I wasn't trying focusing on audience at all. I was just like, just play, get into your colors, find the phrase, settle down. I think it's for me, I've always been someone who's been kind of insecure. So I rush. So it's really about like breathing, finding the rhythm, getting into it, taking space between phrases. That's what I'm thinking about. Just like, okay, you got to like, oh, Leon Fleischer, he said, play as late as possible without actually being late. Thinking about that a lot, especially in a adrenaline heavy situation. Also, just learning to stay super calm when there's stress. I used to be someone who would like really freak out emotionally if there was a issue. And now it's just like, the more stressful the situation is, the more calm I'm getting because it's like, okay, now I really need to hone in and like make this thing happen. So that's been a kind of a personal growth thing I've had to learn.
That's fascinating. And that's fascinating too, what you said about Leon Fleischer. So when you're playing live and it's stressful, play behind the beat, think behind the beat. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, I'm never behind the beat because I'm always a little bit I'm so driven, I'm on top of the beat, right? So by me trying to be late, I'm actually like probably closer to being in the pocket. So yeah, I probably need to like hang out with the drummer a lot more and just like learn where the groove is.
So would you say it's a concentration thing? I mean, you're just better at concentrating now because you played so much live. It's like you can just snap into that mode that you need to be in and concentrate and stay in there. Because a lot of people, they'll get in, but then they'll get out. They'll let emotion or distraction take them out of the moment. So is it a kind of a concentration thing for you?
Yeah, I think so. And I think as you're saying, if there is something that pulls you out, you're back in like as soon as you can. Like, somebody coughs or there's a phone ringing or somebody's talking, you hear it and it's irritating and you kind of want to yell at them, but you're like, wait, come back. I've got a job to do. Like, right, lock in. And something that's also really helped me is at the gym when I'm doing a set of reps, I am like super locked in until those 15 reps are done. And that has helped me so much on stage. Because in the past, I'd be like somebody walking by and I'm like looking around and I'm doing my pull things or whatever. And now it's like for 15 reps, no one is touching me. I'm like locked into this thing. And I think that's been super helpful. I just like training my focus because I've been a pretty distracted person, like too much on my phone or like messages coming in and you're always jumping around and it's exciting. And then it's like, wait, like that's affecting the quality here.
Yeah, that's fascinating about the gym. That's fascinating too, because I noticed that, yeah, staying in that mindset, thinking about the muscle and not letting that go for those 10 reps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody comes over to say hi to you, they can stand there and wait until you're done your set. Like, and in the past I would never do that. I'd like start chatting or whatever. It's like, no, like I'm doing something and this is important. And I think that's also how, we need to understand the value of what we're doing because then you put the seriousness behind the work.